As I was one of the chosen few to enter the network test of Elden Ring Nightreign, I was bursting with excitement when the time came to enter back in the oh so familiar lands of Limgrave. But I couldn't help but wonder, do we really need another Elden Ring game? Will this one bring the excitement that I had when I first opened the doors and saw the vast landscapes of the lands between? Or entered the masterfully crafted lands of Shadow? And after my brief time with the game during the weekend, I can say that although I have my concerns about it, which I will disclose later in this video in detail, I really felt that adventure spirit rising me once again, and I just couldn't close my eyes or put down the controller even for a split second during the test. As much as I love the combat in Elden Ring and I think that it was so many steps up from the previous From Software titles, Night Train feels like the bigger, faster, more agile and experienced person that we admired when we were little in that regard. The combat is fluid, the movement is faster, the jumps are satisfying to do, the fall damage is non-existent, and all that complements the playstyle that Night Train is going for, which is exactly do not stop, keep killing, and looting, and keep on smiling. Don't get me wrong, the game is still From Software hard, but if you're skilled in it, you can fight boss after boss in a matter of minutes. Which leads me to my first concern with the game. As of the recording of this footage, there is close to no explanation how this game works besides a journal that is a bit on the light side. You need to figure out what all the abilities do, what the buffs and debuffs are, and what most of the item descriptions mean. And in a game where the sole object is to go as fast as possible, you don't even have the time to understand what is going on. You can always use the training function in the hub to check everything, but with close to hundreds of weapons and spells and class abilities, it is jarring even for a Souls veteran, so I highly doubt a new player will have an easy time going into the game. As I mentioned, there are the class abilities, and all 4 of the classes that were available in the network test were really fun, with the Reckless class getting the top spot as best class in the Soul series in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I don't like playing a caster in Elden Ring, and I'm not a weep, but the ability to use 5 different weapons with different elements so I can create one powerful spell really set well with me, as I love invoker type champions in every game, as they are the most complex usually, and the most rewarding as a result. I will not explain the mechanics behind each class, as this video is supposed to be a summary of my opinions for network test, but what I can tell is that I cannot wait to see the rest of the classes in the full game. Different classes are all fun and exciting, but what I did not find all that amazing was the map of the game. Yes, Limgrave has shifted, and yes, there are randomized enemies, or there will be. Since on the test everything was set in stone and it was always the same with the exception of the night bosses, which were alternating. But the overall feel is that you're always in the same zone that we have traversed countless times, and ever since they announced the game and said that the majority of it will be in that zone, I have prayed that this is a gaslight by the developers and we will have a different scenery to enjoy, because if this stays the same, I can see myself getting really bored by the end of my 20th run. What I won't get bored with is the end bosses for each chapter. If the three-headed dog, acutely named Gladius, Beast of the Night, is any indication of what we're about to see in the final product, boy oh boy am I a sucker for that. Even though this is the first major boss, it felt so well crafted. There weren't tons of mechanics, just enough to keep you on your toes, but not spoil the fun, as you need to spend at least 30 minutes to get back to it. The netcoding in my amazing was actually pretty good after the first day fiasco of no one being able to log on, and that made for an excellent and fluid fight against the Cerberus looking beast. I know that from the amazing intro you're wondering if we were able to kill it. Sadly, right after that epic jump all went downhill and I couldn't score the kill during the playtest times, and on my last run we were insanely strong, but we got booted from the game since the test was over. But I can't wait to get back for round 2 or 3 or however long it takes on the 30th of May when the full game releases. As much as I love playing with other people and co-op games, something that is making me anxious for Nightreign is the toxicity and griefing that other players can bring to the table. And with so much at stake with the roguelite gameplay that From Software has opted to, they will have a hard time accounting for that. In the 5 or 6 runs that I made, I had a total of 3 levers in them. And the sad part is that the bosses and enemies do not scale down when someone leaves, and when you're left alone to try to fight beasts that were supposed to be taken down by 3 players, it just gets messy. And really hard. In my opinion, at least a small adjustment is in order so you do not feel so devastated when someone leaves a good run before it is finished and you are left with odd pieces trying to complete a whole puzzle. As I mentioned, the roguelite elements are in the form of runes and you can suck at each class with 3 runes. So far in the network test they were only passive stats boosts mainly, which was not so appealing to me, but I hope we'll get more interesting ones in the full release. As a final thought, to answer the question I had even put on the thumbnail of the video, yeah, I definitely need one more Elden Ring game. And this Elden Ring got me hooked up instantly in spite of my concerns, and I believe that with just a bit of final touches and polish, this will shape to be a game that I will have a hard time ignoring and letting go of. And I pray my family will be up to the task to share with me with the lens between once more. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate you leaving a like and a comment. You can check all my other content on the channel, and if you want more of that, please consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.